Do you know where the Egypt River is?
Egypt River. Boy, I've heard of that, but
It's
I
in
can't
Boston,
think.
I think, isn't it?
No,
No. The Egypt River?
No, I don't.
that's what I have seen. Yes, out by.
It is a small river, easily missed in our crowded town. But for millennia, it has been essential to local residents, wildlife, native people, early European colonists, to us.
When I was first introduced to it, I had no idea that it was there, and it goes right under a road that I drive over almost every day.
The Egypt River is literally the lifeblood of the Ipswich community, providing the vast majority of the town's drinking water, water for locally grown food, and for keeping recreational areas green and inviting. The Egypt River is the last leg of an interconnected system of groundwater-fed streams, leading into the Rowley River and out into the Gulf of Maine. Its two parent streams, the Bull Brook and the Dow Brook, rise from Willowdale Forest and Rowley respectively, meeting to become the Egypt River just behind the Ipswich power plant. And from here it flows under Route 133 and into the forest. There is no record of how the Egypt River acquired its name or what native peoples called it, but it appears in Ipswich town records as early as 1660 and on an 1832 map, proving its major role in the life of the region. But its community value long predates the Europeans who took the land. In the early 1950s, the oldest archaeological remains of New England's First Nations culture were discovered on the Egypt River. For Native people, the river system was essential for millennia. Agawam Indians lived along the streams, hunting, fishing, and watering their crops. And of course there was abundant wildlife relying on the water. The lives of myriad fish species need the Egypt, including herring, shad, trout, and smelt. Fish who spawn in fresh water and migrate to the ocean, and fish who remain in fresh water throughout their lives. The Egypt River and its tributaries are part of an ecosystem that, even as it changed, flourished. Life's blood to town, forest, wetland, and ocean, until the early 1990s when all of that changed. Rivers and streams that are groundwater fed don't dry out. Even in periodic drought conditions, the water stored in and moving through the water table below sustains the surface systems above. But since the late 1990s, the Egypt River has regularly gone dry. In 5 of the past 7 years when serious monitoring began, its reliability has vanished. While climate change can and will affect the flow of the stream, the culprits in the last few decades are the citizens of Ipswich. All of us. Most may not know the river, but they love it. A bit too much. As is true of its larger neighbor, the Ipswich River, the Egypt suffers from the demanding water needs of a growing population. The problem is not insurmountable, but to solve it, we need to understand it. Various water-hungry interests, necessary to the community, use most of their water legally. But sometimes they don't. While groundwater-fed streams are naturally regulated from the water stored below ground, introduce a pump, and the balance of the flow is disrupted. Pumps along the Bull Brook take more than the groundwater can replace. Damming the Dow Brook cuts off an entire leg of the river system. This irresponsible and sometimes unregulated poaching of the parent streams deprives the Egypt River of more than 1 million gallons of water per day, and that is a catastrophe. The Egypt no longer supports healthy fish populations, not those that live in streams, nor those that stock the ocean. The endangered silt snail has one less place to live. Amphibians, reptiles, birds, mammals no longer have what was once a rich feeding and breeding habitat. Town citizens are no longer able to rely on the contributions that a healthy stream provides. If it is not managed sustainably, we may lose it completely. But there is hope. The seeds of the Egypt River's recovery are already being sown. New generations are learning from an early age about the importance of healthy waterways. Ipswich elementary students explore the hydrology of river flow. Young student scientists are devoting time and energy to monitoring the Egypt River and contributing significantly to our understanding of this essential body of water.
We get to the site, and usually we start by rinsing out the bucket and getting maybe 5 inches of water and getting some more observational tests. So we'll look at how cloudy it is. We'll look at the environment around it. So is the water frozen, or what does the color of the water look like? Does it have a smell to it? And then from there, we'll go on to doing conductivity. And then we'll go on to do our dissolved oxygen measurement. So I take all of the data down on a clipboard, and then once we leave the site, there's a Google Doc, and I will just fill out the Google Doc with all of the information that I took down.
PIA is one of over 50 volunteers that monitor different parts of the watershed, and they collect valuable data that helps us monitor trends and stressors on the rivers and streams. And this data is important because it helps us identify problems and to devise solutions to bring the river and the watershed back to health. And students like Pia, as well as all the other volunteers, understand the importance of healthy ecosystems and healthy waterways, and they're a critical part of the work we do.
We have so many rivers in this town, and we have a beautiful beach, and it's really important to keep all of those things safe and healthy so that we can use water from our rivers, but also so that all the plants and all the animals in our community stay thriving and healthy.
Citizens have day-to-day roles to play, limiting personal consumption. Municipalities and farms can make sure that water conservation laws are respected. Stop illicit pumping and periodically release water from man-made reservoirs. Fish populations can be restored and conserved. Abundant life can return. Sustainable consumption is possible, but when the water only flows intermittently, when too much is taken without thought for the future, the day will come when neither urban nor agricultural nor wildlife needs can be met. There's another bonus to keeping the Egypt River alive. The stream flows into the Rowley River, and from there out onto the Great Salt Marsh and the ocean. It is the longest stretch of navigable water, unbroken by urbanization on the North Shore of Massachusetts. Here, it is still possible to find quiet, seeing and feeling the landscape as hundreds of generations have before us. To know the Egypt River is to love it, but responsibly and sustainably. The choice is ours.